Hyman. Okay, I'm on the radio now. I'm on the radio. Bye. Bye. Hello.
Woody? Zod?
Yes.
Woody?
Yeah, we're starting in at 6 o'clock, so just give us 30 seconds, I think. Yeah. Yeah, give us. Okay, ready. Good evening, listeners. This is Bless Radio. It's Tuesday evening and it's 6 p.m. UK time. This is the spiritual discussion program. Okay. Ah. I'm sorry, there was an echo there, and I apologize for that. I know what was the problem now. So yet again, just say it again. It's 6 p.m. UK time. This is the spiritual discussion program, and I am Saad in southeast London, and the clocks have gone forward, and the weather is now, we are having some light again. Well, it's been light at 6 o'clock, I think, already, but we have to get up earlier now with the 1 hour clock going forward, at least in Europe. And with me, as usual, is Gregory. Gregory, how are you, and how is the weather where you are?
Well, the weather has been beautiful to some extent, and we have longer daylight.
Longer daylight, yes. Here, I didn't say the weather is overcast, and it's been raining sort of on and off, not light rain, I would say. That's in London here. So, welcome listeners to the Spiritual Discussion Program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message, by Uprushing. And we have a topic for discussion every week, a new topic for discussion every week. The topic tonight is good and evil. Good and evil. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with, what is the GRAIL message? The GRAIL message, in the light of truth, by Uprushing, is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The GRAIL message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized, and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover, through the intuitive perception, if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the GRAIL message, Aprushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the GRAIL message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the GRAIL message lives so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic we are discussing tonight is good and evil. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Gregory, as you know, I like to check in the dictionary the meaning of the words in our title or topic for the discussion. So tonight's topic is good and evil. And I looked up the word first, good. And there I found what is morally right, good, the meaning for good. What is morally right, righteous. And also another meaning of good, they said, is benefit or advantage to someone or something. So may I ask you, Gregory, that definition given in the dictionary about good, is it good for our discussion?
Well, your definition, when looked at carefully, you were defining good. At the same time, you've asked, is it good for our discussion?
Yes.
So, which is quite humorous in the sense that you are qualifying good with good.
Yes.
Well, it is. All these expressions are only part meaning to that expression good. The dictionary explanation or meaning has been put there depending on the maturity or the awareness of those who included it there. So it is usable, but as usual, it is not complete to deal with the real challenges which could be faced when these discussions arise.
Right. I'm trying to understand what the meaning, the depth of what you have said there. I think you're saying it's partially, again, I'm going to use the word good, it's a bit funny, but the definition is, let's say, useful.
It's useful.
Yes, but it's not complete. I think that's what you're
It's
saying.
not complete, yes.
Not complete. Right. So I'm now wondering, should I ask you, can you say more to give it a more complete definition?
Well, most of the time, when a more complete definition is sought, one has to consider the different categories, the three basic different categories where good or goodness is considered. That is the category of deeds, which deeds are perceptible to the five senses, the category of thoughts, which thoughts are not perceptible to the five senses, and the category of one's intuition, which intuition are not also perceptible to the thoughts, although they have an impact on one's thoughts, just as one's thoughts have an impact on one's deeds. It is when these three categories are considered in relation with the reference framework of creation, only then can a much complete picture of what goodness is be arrived at.
Thank you very much for this answer, Gregory. As usual, the context is the important thing whenever we speak. So the context here is, you said deeds, thoughts, and intuition.
Correct.
Because good is, you can have good, let's say, thoughts and good deeds and good intuition. But that was in the dictionary, of course, they didn't qualify that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we will continue. So, this is only a start of the show right now. So we'll continue. Let me now go to the word evil. That's the second word in the topic, good and evil. So again, in the dictionary, I checked that as well. It says profound immorality, wickedness, especially when regarded as a supernatural force. I'm just wondering if I copied that correctly. I think it means, I think it's, Gregory, what that is referring to is, let's say, immorality from what is against God's will or God's ways. They haven't said that directly there, but I think that's what they're saying. So evil, definition of evil is profound immorality and wickedness, especially when regarded, as I would say, as regarded from God's will. If I know that needs definition probably as well. So let's just look at profound immorality and wickedness as the meaning, of evil. So again, Gregory, what would you say for that definition?
Find that in this particular definition, it gave a context of morality and the will of the Almighty. That context of the will matters a lot because the representation or the manifestation of this will is what is referred to as the laws of, or as the divine laws, or the laws of creation, or the laws of nature. So that definition, with the context being tied to it, draws nearer to the real definition that can be used.
Thank you very much. That's good. That's, a more complete definition. It always helps to understand things. So that's good now. Okay. Now what happened, Gregory? I looked at the words that had defined good in the dictionary and evil in the dictionary, and I thought, for example, it says about good, it says that which is morally right. So then I thought I better check what it right means, or righteous even. They said what is morally right or righteous, righteousness. So I looked up what is righteous, and it actually said morally right, which is repeating again the same word, or justifiable. That was the other word, justifiable.
In the semantics, justifiable seem correct. All right, when they say it is right, that means it is, since there has already been a framework which has been used, so whatever resonates, that means it is, whatever resonates with that is just, that means it's justifiable. But again, like has been stressed, all of these expressions must be arranged in such a way that a clear picture can be taken from deeds, from thoughts, and from one's intuition. So the expression right, which you yourself have just read, is correct in the sense that it is justifiable because it resonates.
Good. I was thinking, again, you mentioned the framework as well. So, all of that has to be taken into account when you say justifiable from one context. Is it in I think again, is to do with the will of God, as we've been mentioning, or laws of nature, as you've mentioned, or divine laws. So they're one and the same when we discuss in our show these points. So I'm going to continue, Gregory, because there was another word there, morally, or morality even. Morally right, it said. So I checked out that one also in the dictionary, morality. And there it says, principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong, or good and bad behavior. They gave a dictionary a sentence as an example. The matter boiled down to simple morality. Innocent prisoners ought to be freed. So that's just an example they've given there. So let's go back to the meaning, morality. It said principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong, or good and bad behavior. And there's another one, a particular system of values and principles of conduct. So the morality is being, as you said, Gregory, we need always this framework. So the framework of morality is principles concerning distinction between right and wrong, or good and bad behavior. Is that a good definition there?
Again, you will find that is tending, is a pointer. And what it is pointing to, basically, is that when the word principle is discuss in terms of morality, it is pointing towards the virtues. The virtues which have to be looked into very carefully. So only on such a framework or background can one use morality and say this is of high morality, that means of high virtue, or lack of morality, which means the lack of any virtue. That is the equivalent that is being spoken of in language usage.
Thank you again for that, Gregory. So we should consider, when we're talking about morality, we are thinking of the principles in morality is to think of the virtues. So, okay. I'm going to carry on. I know this seems to a lot of definitions, but I think it's just important we go through the definitions, all the definitions. So the next one, Gregory, it says, looking at evil, there was a mention, or when you say something's right, then the opposite of that is wrong. So then I thought, let me look up what is wrong, meaning of wrong. And it said not correct or true. Or another simple one that said incorrect. And then they went to another bit of definition. They said wrong, again meaning of wrong, unjust, dishonest, or immoral. So I guess this is just simply the opposite of right. That's what I would say. So let me just repeat that, Gregory. The meaning of the word wrong, it says not correct or true, incorrect, or unjust, dishonest, or immoral. Anything you want to say on that?
Well, one can find counter examples to what you yourself just read out. Something may be wrong does not mean that it's immoral. It is only in extreme cases. All right? When you speak a language or you speak it wrongly, it doesn't mean that you are immoral because you spoke it wrongly, because you yourself, you haven't matured to that extent to have a good grasp of the language, and the tenses are mixed up. When you consider that scenario, you say, oh, this is wrong. That does not mean you are immoral, right? It only means that you yourself haven't matured, have not matured to that extent to be able to use the language fluently. So one has to be very careful. That which resonates is what we say is right. That which does not resonate, one may say it is wrong. But that it doesn't resonate doesn't mean it is wrong. All right? It means it doesn't fit in. It doesn't really fit within the structure. All right? And it doesn't mean that you yourself are set out to do that which is bad or something.
Thank you for that. And I know you mentioned the word resonate there, which you just mentioned before as well. I didn't follow up on that one. So I just want to say, when you say resonate, Gregory, what you're talking, resonating with what? With your inner feelings? Or?
Well, one may use inner feelings. It's like putting round pegs in round holes, square peg in square holes, and in that case you say it is right. If you try to put round pegs in square hole, you will say it is wrong. So the word resonate means they have almost equivalent vibration. Take, for instance, only through resonance of the waves, also called electronic or electromagnetic waves, are we able to discuss across the distance. Because you have an instrument which is able to pick and pick the waves, the energy propagated, and you can then interpret it. So there must be resonance. On the other hand, there are other waves that are going on. We're unable to pick it because we don't have the instruments that are vibrating with the same frequency to be able to interpret what we've heard. A very simple example is that of when you are discussing with your friend who is nearby, that friend can hear you because of the range of vibration. However, there are animals who can hear lower vibration and can already sense something is around, whereas we ourselves, we don't have that range. So the word resonance means you are vibrating with the same frequency or very similar vibrations. So that's where it comes in.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for painting this picture with that word resonance, or resonate. My immediate thought when you said that, after you answered that, is that because there's a range of this, we could say, frequency of resonance that we can, how can I say, sense. And as you say, other animals have you could say, a different range to us, and they can sense what we can't sense.
Correct.
And I'm thinking that means, especially in this context of good and evil, maybe some things, well, it could be in different human beings. Each one will have a different sense of resonance. Some may perceive good, good or evil on a deeper level, and others on not so deeper level. And even, the ranges can be so, let's say, not even overlapping. I'm doing my own imagination now. So I'm just thinking about what you've said. So I'm thinking, because there's a range, that's what the point I'm trying to make. There's a range of resonance. Each human being could have a different range. And if we're talking about good and evil, some people will think something is evil, which other things is not evil, or don't know about it. And good as well. You can argue, it doesn't matter what the topic is. There's a limited range. That's what I'm wondering with each human being. So, Gregory, what the question from that is, if that is the case, can everybody, all human beings, have the same level of perception of good and evil?
Of course, everyone can have equivalent perception of good and evil depending on their maturity. That which is good, one has stressed again, must be considered to the reference framework. And the reference framework is that which determines that which is good, in the sense that it resonates or it agrees with the five senses, or it resonates with the five senses. It also is in agreement with your thoughts, and also in agreement with one's intuition, in the sense that that which is good brings benefit in return to that activity. Benefits not only to the individual, but benefits to creation itself. So when creation as a whole is considered, when nature as a whole is considered, when the creatures in creation are considered, once these activities bring benefit, then it is said it is good because it uplifts the person who initiated that activity. Else, it does not uplift the person, it does not resonate with creation. That means threads are tied through which that person will have to make atonement. That which is good, you don't need to make any atonement. It's only that which is evil. That is where you make atonement.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this answer and picture that you painted there. I'm just trying to, again, reflect on this good and evil, like perception of by the human being. And, and you said earlier about, when we talk about principles of wrong and right, and which is or good behavior and bad behavior, which is, we said we would look at principles as virtues, to distinguish, good, you can say. And I'm just wondering, all this, it seems, when we're talking the way we're talking, you don't need to be taught it somehow. It's somehow inherently in us what is good and bad or evil. Somehow it's inherently perceptible. But yet, when we are growing up, the parents teach us, either through a religion or through their own moral code, that this is right, that is wrong. We're taught like that, and we adopt those values. And mostly they are common throughout the world. So, but the way we've been talking up to now, Gregory, it seemed we had our inherent individual ability to have this perception of the virtues and the good and the bad, good or evil. So it looks like we are coming from a different understanding to the general world view of good and evil. So what I want to ask there, are we meant to, Gregory, discover these values or virtues ourselves, or are we meant to be taught, through the parents, through religion, or some teaching?
Well, thanks for this particular question, because it opens probing into it and examining it, helps to throw light into many areas which could awaken many a person. When looked at very carefully, you will find from one's parents or from one's teachers, those ones who give the instructions, sometimes through example, they can only offer you that which they themselves have either experienced or have come to know. If they have clarity, depending on the level of clarity they have, they may offer it to you. If they have not attained to that inner clarity, then, with all due respect, they cannot offer you that clarity they themselves do not have. There are, in general, clarity as to the category of earthly deeds. One may be able to see as far as only earthly deeds. There is the other category we had mentioned, earthly thoughts. Not one person is able to perceive of the thoughts of another. But if these thoughts resonate with one's deeds, then one is able to say, oh, this must be the thinking behind it. That is what lies behind it. The same thing goes with one's intuition. Another is unable to perceive very seamlessly the intuition of another. If one's intuition could easily be perceived as such, then the intuition that runs nature, the intuition that runs the contents of nature, could easily, seamlessly be perceived, and subsequently many may adjust their conduct to it. So it's very clear that it is challenging to be able to perceive one's intuition. It is like with like. That means one is able to perceive earthly deeds through one's physical eyes, and to be able to perceive thoughts, one must strive to live in such a way to be able to perceive thoughts, other thoughts, which may assail us. The same thing goes with one's intuition. Therefore, it is imperative that each person must develop themselves further and further. Just as you yourself had to leave your family in order to learn that which is perceptible physically and make use of the earthly knowledge, so also by yourself you must strive to develop your thoughts. The question there most of the time is that, oh, do we need a teacher? There are always reciprocal activities. Which reciprocal activity becomes helpful through simple observation, and therefore means through reciprocal activities, through that which is homogeneous, we are able to learn not only in our physical activities, but also in our thoughts. The same thing goes to one's intuition. So we are meant through activities, be it that which is perceptible to the five senses, that which we may refer to that category of thoughts, and also that category of intuition. As long as there is vibrant activities in these three different categories, then the returns will help to mature us. It is these returns in these three different categories that generally is referred to as experience. Experience in deeds, experience in thoughts, and experience in intuition.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for your answer, explanation, and picture there. I want to explore that further. Before I do that, I want to let the listeners know this is Bless Radio. It's a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message, by Uprushin. If you are interested in knowing more about the GRAIL message or want to get a copy of the GRAIL message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. www.grail.com. I'll spell it. It's www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is good and evil. Good and evil. You're welcome to join in the discussion with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space GRAIL message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is good and evil. Of course, you can also listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. And thirdly, we're broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, while you were talking just before I spoke in here, a listener called in and he asked, is there such a thing as an evil spirit? And I'm just wondering, I will let you respond to that, and then I'm going to call the listener back in case he wants to respond to that. So the question is, Gregory, from the listener, is there such a thing as an evil spirit?
Well, thanks for that particular question. In the discussions earlier, we had enumerated that which is perceptible to the earthly senses physically. The second enumeration was that of one's thoughts. And the final key enumeration was that of one's intuition. That which is referred to as one's intuition has only come into existence due to the motion of the inner core of man. This inner core is able, due to its capability, to form types, which types can be a blessing to others or may not be a blessing to others, but causes obstruction. The human personality has that innate capability of making use of that power which streams through creation. In that particular scenario, entities therefore arise. Entities which have been strengthened, or entities which have been formed due to the intuition of man, which intuition is not of benefit to nature, to creation, but these entities are tied to those that have similar intuitions. It is these entities that many refer to as evil spirits, because it is the spirit that gave rise to the formation of these entities. It is the spirit, the human spirit, which also continue to feed these entities. And these entities can cause destruction. Destructions which have arisen. Sometimes the name of these entities, very, very common, furies. So furies have arisen in creation due to the activity of man. And they are evil. These entities, they have only one task: destruction. So yes, one may say they are evil spirits, but they are dependent on he himself or herself who continue to feed it through fear, who continue to nurture it. These entities are not willed in accordance with the laws of creation, but are the products of human intuition.
Thank you so much, Gregory. The listener is on the line listening to you, and I just wanted to go back to him if he wants to respond to this answer. Now, his name is, well, I don't know if you want me to say the name. Hello, are you there, listener? DJ Scribe. Just let me put you on onto the radio now. Okay, now, okay, there's a bit of feedback, but go ahead, listener. Do you want to respond to the answer by Gregory?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
See, this is what I was saying last time, but you were saying something completely different at the time. You were saying that there's no such thing as an evil spirit. That's what you said last time, if you remember, because we had this debate before.
Yes.
And then I went into the scripture, Matthew chapter 12 and verse 43 to 45. That's Matthew chapter 12, 43 to 45, where it said the unclean spirit has gone out of a man and wanders through dry places seeking rest. Unclean spirit, that's what Jesus is saying. And then again, with another prophet, the Bible says that shall I be a lying spirit in the prophet, in the 400 prophets' mouth? Shall I be a lying spirit? So we can tell that there is unclean spirits.
Yes.
I knew that, but you wouldn't have it at the time.
Yes.
So you're stepping back on your word, and I'm glad you are, because you're a man. You prove to be a man.
Yes. Okay. I know. Let me thank you, DJ. This is DJ Scribe, Gregory, and I'm not too sure, Gregory, were able to hear the words, what he spoke. So first, I want to clarify that.
I had. Let me respond very briefly. One had used the expression entities, which is the product that man himself has brought into. The way people call things, and they said spirit, you have unclean spirit. For for the loss of how best one can describe this, these things which are referred to as unclean spirits, they are dependent on those who gave it the possibility of causing confusion. Strictly speaking, they are not spirits. They are only entities which can be dealt with very quickly.
Yes.
Whereas that which he himself, that which he is referring to, or which Christ has referred to, are these same entities. It was not preferable, it is not a product of the will of the Almighty, it is not a product of the laws or the love of the Almighty. It is a product of the human personality in their capabilities and can easily be dealt with. Many a person who is fearless can easily deal with this so-called evil spirit. They are supposed to be everywhere, but that person who has no connection with them, who is fearless, can easily deal with them as compared to that person who is so fearful. Therefore, every personality who is sound in his deeds, in his thoughts, and also in his intuition, can easily deal with these so-called entities, and they will vanish. Therefore, it is not of anything important. However, those people who are so fearful, when these words are mentioned, because of their fear, these entities are able to attach themselves to such persons and even drive them to madness, which is what you have in many cases. You find people who are supposed to be insane because they have lived a life of fear. They cannot make a decision, and you have all these entities approaching them. In fact, there are some who can perceive of these entities, and they have always been there, but also they can vanish for those who are brave, who have the wisdom and the courage to deal with this sort of scenarios.
Thank you, Gregory, for your answer. The listener is DJ Scribe, the one who posed that question. He's still there with us on the line. And just to, let's say, give a background, because the discussion today about, well, the question was, is there such a thing as an evil spirit? That was the question posed. And this issue came up previously on another show where I was, the same listener was there, and he was asking a question to me at that point. So I don't think, Gregory, I'm not quite sure if you will remember that at all, but I do remember the person asking him. And the question he asked me, or something like that, was, is there such a thing as an evil spirit? So I categorically said there is no such thing as an evil spirit. But today, we've mentioned these entities. That's the point, which are produced by the spirit, a human spirit. We must just to be clear about that, and those entities can be evil. So even if we say, and it sounds contradictory to say, oh, human spirit cannot be evil, yet he can produce entities which are evil. And then we call those entities, or let's say some of us have referred to those entities as evil spirit, and which can be very confusing, to understand. And also, there's of course, when it's mentioned in the Bible, as Christ spoke about it, and Matthew, as the listener was quoting from Matthew, that unclean spirit and so on. So now, if that word is said, and the definition of what is spirit is not, let's say, clear, then we are going to get a big misunderstanding. You can say, yes, there is one way you can understood it, take it that, oh, there is such a thing as evil spirit, and another way you can say there's absolutely no way there's an evil spirit. However, so I know this sounds all very confusing, possibly, but I just want to make it clear. There's something called spirit, human spirit, and we have the thoughts, we have the words, we have the deeds, we have intuition. All of this is produced by the human being, and in this producing these words, deeds, thoughts, there can be evil there, good or evil, and in this process are formed entities, which it can be referred as evil entities, and so forth. And then some people will call those entities spirit. So you can see very easily how people can get confused. Oh, can you have an evil spirit? Well, yes, you can, but you must understand the context. That context is a form, an entity, not a human evil spirit. So this is what I wanted to clarify. I know DJ Scribe, I hope you're listening there. I just want to get that, it sounded like I was, like I've changed my way from the previous conversation, some old show. I said categorical.
Sorry, Sad, you
Yes.
haven't said anything wrong. It was just a matter of the perspective one had to give, and it has to be done gradually. For instance, when one says there is envy, is it helpful? Envy is evil. Lust and gluttony, these are evil. They have forms. When people say one is green with envy, these have forms, they have color, all right? And because you cannot see these things or hold it with your hands, and that means it's able to mutate and attach itself to others. That which many cannot see or can't use their five senses to hold, they call it spirit. Sometimes they call it thoughts. So spirit in its essence is different than the classifications which many have brought into it. And that is why one is differentiating the three basic categories: that which is perceptible to the five earthly senses, that which is perceptible to the thoughts, and that which is perceptible to one's intuition. It is the human spirit, it is the activities that produce one's intuition. And these intuitions, they are entities, like they have structures. After all, here we are discussing, how do you think that a wave can live where you are and go across the ether to another place? There is a structure, of course. There is a structure of a so-called equivalent electromagnetic wave. It is a structure. All right? You can focus that structure to, like you have with the sun, to focus it on a point to cause so much destruction. So these are possibilities which have not been discussed yet. For now, only the basics are discussed. Once there's clarity in these different categories, then one can understand the quotes in the writings, in the so-called ancient writings, be it biblical, be it Quran or whatever teaching. One must have the basic understanding of what is talked about most of which is not based on that which is perceptible with our five senses.
Just one moment, Scribe. I'm going to put you on loudspeaker so that it can be heard. Okay. Yes, DJ Scribe, please, you can respond now. I don't know. Let me just see if I can take... Yeah, go on.
So when Jesus was saying that when the unclean spirit has gone out of a man, he wanders through dry places and rest and comes out, then he takes 7 more wicked spirits to himself. Then the Apostle Paul went back and said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of this world, spiritual wickedness in high and low places. So what are they actually saying? You see, what you're mixing up, you don't want to use the word demon. There's a demon and there's a spirit. There's only really three ways. There's flesh, there's demon, and there's spirit. And there's in a man and in a woman. You see, what you're trying to say is something that doesn't make sense. One minute you're saying that it's good, next minute you're saying that it's evil. The spirit is evil. Well, I know that the spirit can be evil because it's a byproduct of the flesh. So I know that the spirit can be evil because it's a byproduct of the flesh. It did not come first. And the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 46 says, therefore the spirit did not come first.
Right. Thank you for that. DJ Scribe. I don't know, Gregory, did you hear that?
Some of these things, because of the echo,
yes,
I was not, but I will try to respond very quickly to that. Which, the DJ said something which is profound when he quoted biblical writings, that something came out of the man. And this time it was referring to that which came out. That which came out of the person must have been a product of one's intuition, which intuition permeates one's thoughts, permeates that which is physical. So that is correct. So that does not make that the core of that which came out. It doesn't make it spirit, because that which came out is dependent on the person. Whether if there are gatherings, it's of no issue, because you have an accumulation of these type of so-called evil entities, which evil entities form greed or envy or vice. In order to give it a general name, that general name or nomenclature is evil. And that was why in the discussion, one said they have one activity. All these is destruction.
And
whereas,
sorry, Gregory, just quickly come in. You also mentioned demon. He said we didn't talk about demon.
Yes. There is the discussion about demons, phantoms. These ones are also there. When one is referring to evil spirits, basically many will be referring to those human personality that have completely debased themselves, and they have sway on others. That is not what Paul was referring to. Most of the things Paul had referred to in his letter to the Corinthians or to the Ephesians and things like that, he himself was referring to men's intuitions that have taken on form and has caused so much trouble. For when you come to examine these things very carefully, these are the basis of many an evil that you find here on earth. The human spirit, the qualities that it has are noble qualities if it cultivates them. That means they are virtuous qualities. If, however, it refuses to cultivate them, then it becomes indolent. And in its indolence, others of ignoble qualities, others that have permitted themselves in not exerting themselves enough, they fall the prey of those who have this wrong volition. So there is the right volition for upbuilding in accordance with the creation laws, and then there is the wrong volition which has come due to laziness. Reflect on these things and it becomes very clear.
Thank you so much, Gregory. Just want to go back to the listener, DJ Scribe. Did you hear that, DJ Scribe?
I heard that, but it didn't make sense because
Just one moment. I'm going to put you on loudspeaker again. One moment. It doesn't make sense, he says.
the reason why it doesn't make sense, let me just hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because one minute you're saying that if you cultivate the spirit, it becomes good, and if you don't, it becomes evil. And it gets evil tendencies. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is that it practices good and evil. The spirit has a dual personality. The spirit has a dual personality. The same way a pastor will get up and preach, he would go home and drink till he gets drunk and hits his wife. You see what I'm saying? The same way a pastor will talk about righteousness, with the same spirit he's talking about righteousness, the dual personality of the spirit will also commit fornication or adultery. That's what I'm trying to say. So that is why we have to understand. We have to understand the core meaning of the spirit, the word spirit. It's a byproduct of the flesh. And the Apostle Paul only mentioned it a few times in the Bible. It's a byproduct of the flesh, and that's what we fail to understand. Because in the beginning, the Bible says that when God made man, he breathed into him and he became a living soul. Now, your soul is not your spirit. Your soul is your emotions, your characteristics, and your personality. That's what your soul is. It's not your spirit. Because if he directly said he breathed into him a living spirit, that's what he would have said.
Right. So first I want to check, Gregory, did you hear that?
Yes, I had. And one will just take one more clarification so one can move forward. That which is of the flesh is here in the world of gross matter. That is where we have flesh. Above that of matter, there is a covering. That covering one may refer to as the soul. The inner core of man which inner core of man is able to make contact with the power that streams through creation, that is spirit. Above that which is spirit, there is a better distinction, Holy Spirit. It is the spirit of man that is able to become from ordinary unconsciousness, that means unaware, to consciousness and to become self-conscious. When man departs from this earth, man does not take the flesh along, for dust will return to dust. So one cannot say, or it will be inconsistent to say the spirit has arisen out of the flesh. No. Flesh is flesh. Spirit is spirit. Flesh is here in the world of gross matter. So these clear distinctions must be made. And it's understandable that once these distinctions are not made, there is bound to be confusion. So that is the bit which one needed to add to it. But that is what Paul himself, in his message, that is what he was referring to.
All right.
Just let me just one moment. Just one moment. I'll put you on the loudspeaker. Hold on. So let me, DJ Scrap, you can come back now.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Now, what you're saying is that the inner core of yourself goes back to the Creator, the Spirit. What are you trying to say?
Gregory, the listener is saying, DJ Scribe is saying that the inner core of man goes back to spirit, which is.
Saying, is that what he's trying to say?
Is Gregory trying to say? So the inner core of man goes back to spirit. Is that what you're trying to say, Gregory?
What I am saying is that the inner core of man is spirit. That spirit takes on the quality and image, a spark. The spark of the Creator is not the Creator. That spark is spirit. That spark is an image.
I understand what you're saying. Sir. But what I'm trying to say is that what you're saying is that your inner, I don't know what you call it, but I call it inner man or inner woman. Your inner woman or your inner man goes straight back to the Creator. That's what I say. But that's why the Apostle Paul said, at the last trump, when the dead in Christ shall rise first, they shall be caught up in a new body, a celestial body. They shall be taken to the celestial body. Not their spirit. We're not talking about their spirit, you know. We talk about a celestial body or a terrestrial body or whatever it is. But we shall be changed in the twinkling of an eye. That's why the Apostle Paul said that. Because he realized that his spirit is not going nowhere because of all the things that have been done in this spirit. The corrupt things that have been done with this spirit. The spirit has been tainted with corruption. The spirit is not pure. No spirit is pure. No spirit is pure. But
Okay, thank you for Gregory.
Your inner man
Yeah, sorry.
and your inner woman, your inner man, the core of your existence, your inner man and your inner woman is pure.
Oh, are you saying that now? The inner man and inner woman is pure? Is that what you're saying?
Not what Gregory was talking about. Gregory talking about the core of your existence being your spirit.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying your inner man and your inner woman is pure, but your spirit is wayward. Because you can live all your life for 35 years and do wrong, and then come to your God and say to your God, I repent. God ain't going to take us to street like that to his glory. Or you might as well take the devil. You might as well take the devil back. Because the devil done wrong, and why can't he repent?
Right. Okay. Gregory, did you hear that?
I heard there is a need to reflect. When he himself says, I understand, but in his expression, he does not understand. So it means we keep going around in circles. Whatever is said, there is a need to reflect for some time, because I realize we must move forward.
Yes.
Else we will keep going around in cycles. What one may stress here, the inner core of man or woman is of spirit. That is the activating core. That is the personality that is able to make use of the power that streams in creation, in nature. It is able to soil itself, or is able to soil the covering, the inner core, in wearing clothing. In that way, one is able to recognize it. In that state, it is referred to as the human soul, be it a man or a woman. Here on earth, it is very easy to differentiate. But that core that makes use, that's able to withdraw and make decisions, that core, be it of man or of woman, the capabilities of it is that of spirit, which it has been endowed with.
Thank you so much, Gregory, and I want to say thank you to DJ Scribe. What I've realized is this answer, or to understand this, or to give an answer even to some questions, the depth of the clarity that is necessary about, like we talk at the beginning of every show, the definition of the words. Sometimes we're using the same word, but the meaning or the understanding that we have may be different. And definitely what I will say with DJ Scribe, the definition, we have come closer today in our understanding than our, let's say, when I had a discussion with him previously, so about spirit, because what is clear for me in our discussion just now is until both of us or everybody has the same clarity about what is spirit, what is the flesh, we know, I think everybody knows what is flesh. So, but if that clarity is very clear all the way, and then we know what, this world, what it is actually, the spirit, what is the body, the whole thing, let me say it that way, we will come to hopefully the same understanding and the same realization of it, understanding of it. But it is quite a journey to get to that point. So I do appreciate that. And what I'll say, we will stop on this discussion for now, and another opportunity will surely come for us to continue that journey. So thank you very much, DJ Scribe and Gregory, for your sort of questionings and
Thank
answerings.
DJ Scribe for his statements, because
Yes.
in making these statements, one needs to provide greater clarity and the different categorization to carefully reflect over it and come to a conclusion. So it is very helpful for such interjections in order to arrive at better clarification. So thank you.
Yes. So I want to tell the listeners that this is Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the GRAIL message by Abdushin. And if you are interested to know more about the GRAIL message or want to get a copy of the GRAIL message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. And I'll spell that. It's www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is good and evil. Good and evil. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to a recording of this show the next day on YouTube as well. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space GRAIL message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is saying about coming back to the Creator, and but there is another power, or another, I don't know, power or being, what we want to say, Lucifer, or the devil. And you can say, and let's say we may have an idea or an understanding or some picture in our mind that God is good and the devil is evil. And, looks like there are two powers there, good and evil. So I'm wondering, Gregory, what's the situation there? Because up till now we only mentioned the Creator, the Almighty God. But what about Lucifer and, his powers?
As many may already know, a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Therefore, one may not talk about two different powers. The structures of creation, these structures came into existence only through the power of the Almighty. And that structure has always been. Therefore, it persists and it stands. Therefore, one may say there's just one power. The case or the scenario of Lucifer, the tasks which he himself had, he had not fulfilled this task in accordance with the will of the Almighty. The tasks were not also fulfilled or were not carried out in accordance with the love of the Almighty. For if the tasks were fulfilled accordingly, in accordance with the love and in accordance with the will, then the power which he himself used would only produce that which is of upbuilding. It will not result to that of destruction. Therefore, one may say there is only one power. In fact, there is just one power. It depends on how we ourselves, through our intuitions, through our thoughts, and through our physical activities, how we have made use of this particular power. In that case, we have to give account whether we have used it rightly to resonate and provide that which is good for all creatures, or we have used it in a wrong way in which it does not provide the comfort, the virtuous characteristics that will be of benefit to the creatures in creation.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for your answer there. Yes, so there is just one power, and we said that this power is streaming through the whole of creation, you know, and it's like we human beings have the, you could say, the privilege to use it for good or evil. It's in our hands that we are able to direct this power. And as we know, you know, if we flow, how can I say, if we use it in a good way or noble way, then we would get, you know, the consequence of that. I mean, or let's say a good result from that. If we do it in a good way, use it apply it in a good way. If we apply it in an evil way, then there should be some, you could say, evil result for us. It's like that. And, you know, and earlier on, Gregory, we also mentioned that, you know, this is all, the context is all about, or a framework that this is happening is the laws of, the divine laws, or the laws of nature, or God's will, another way it is put. You know, we may not equate all these three things the same way, in, you know, let's say with some awareness, proper awareness, but if we can reflect on that, there's God's will, the laws of nature, and divine will, or divine laws, is all one and the same thing, actually. And even, I would say, Gregory, this power from the Creator, it's a neutral power. We are the ones, we human beings, I mean, directing it one way or another way. It's a, as I say, it's a privilege. But then there are consequences of using the power one way or the other way, you know. So this is, how can I say, the picture or the context. We need to see that when we are, you know, we can go in a good way, we can go in an evil way. And, you know, it even maybe help to say, are we, is a human being, and we also take the idea that the human, or not the idea, we say the human being is a spirit, or a human spirit. So is it an evil spirit or is it a good spirit? Well, it's the activity. What activity are you doing? You can go to one direction, you can go another direction. So this is I will say that becomes clear, if you can see it in this picture. What is that? And one more thing I want to add is the real living being for us human beings is the spirit. On the earth we have a body, we have the, let's say, layers of bodies that or layers that we wear. We need the physical body to operate on the earth, the flesh, as it's been mentioned. Yeah. But when you are on another world, the next world, when you die, you don't need your flesh there, because that world, the world of matter that we have on the earth, we need that body as flesh. But when we die, we drop that flesh, and we have the other layers surrounding us as the spirit. That is what we are carrying with us. And I think, Greg, you mentioned the soul, and so did DJ Scribe. So that is a layer that we carry. So this is a very big picture, really, to think about, what we actually are and how we act, what is our activity. And you said also, Gregory, I mentioned at the beginning, you said we have thoughts, we have words, we speak words, and we do actions, deeds, and there's also the intuition. So all these things are there, and to get let's say the big picture, the full picture, all of that has to be, I'm going to say, absorbed and really properly reflected upon. Each one has its own function. All of these things are abilities that we are carrying, and they have a function, and it must be understood. Everything must be understood properly for us to get a right understanding. So it's really quite something to get this picture. Now, so let me reflect on the question, what we can ask about this. So Gregory, so far we've been thinking about the Almighty, the devil, and ourselves as human, but we, or ourselves as individual human, let's say, but of course we live in this world with other humans, and you could say some humans could be behaving in a good way or noble way, and others can be behaving in an evil way. And also, Eddie, you can't, Gregory, I mean to say, we cannot read another person's mind. What is their intention when they communicate with us or interact with us? So I'm wondering, Gregory, how can we human beings sort of take care of ourselves so that we can protect ourselves from evil in case somebody's laying some trap or to misguide us, whatever way, to lead us astray even. How can we, those of us who want to strive for goodness and nobility, how can we protect ourselves from this type of activity from our fellow men?
Again, these are profound questions. The answers or the solution of which are very simple. He or she who strives or who desires or who longs for that which is noble must strive after it. That means anyone that needs to be good, not only in deeds, in thoughts or in intuition, must strive after it. That means to cultivate it. In the process of cultivation of that which is noble, which is virtually noble, you yourself will find that in a step-by-step manner, the environment about you, which environment is not only the physical, gross material environment, There's also the non-physical environment, and above all, the spiritual environment which the human personality has cultivated about itself will not resonate with those of evil volition. So he or she who longs after that which is noble must strive to be noble. And in that case, you will find there is no resonance between him or her and the other person who reflects in a different direction. That is the best thing that the human personality may get into. For subsequently, he or she will build vigilance and alertness about itself. And in doing that, they will be protected. That becomes security. They will become secure in their vigilance for that which is noble, for they will now attract that which is noble. Also, the alertness of that which needs to reach them, such that when that which is ignoble or evil dares to approach, because of their vigilance, which is strategic, and their alertness, which is tactical, they themselves can already recognize it. These cognitions which have arisen out of evil, out of badness, they are able to recognize it in their vigilance and alertness and avoid it. So that is the key. Whoever runs away and does not cultivate vigilance in all that he or she interacts with, that person is behaving like an ostrich that buries its head in the soil. So there must be that alertness, there must be that vigilance, there must be that diligence, also modesty. These are the virtuous things which have been discussed again and again. For only through alertness and vigilance can one, in humility, recognize that which is not upbuilding, which causes destruction, which causes disharmony, and therefore strives in future to avoid it or to eliminate it.
Thank you so much for this answer there, Gregory, and picture you've painted there. I'm going to read some comments from a listener. It says, my thoughts about the topic good and evil, which lies in the GRAIL message as pointed out by the chapter Fate, and refers to the law of reciprocal actions, simply put, karma. This law is present in all of creation and is expressed through the consequences of mankind's actions. This law can be drawn from the message that states that what a man sows, so shall he reap. This message is mirrored in the Bible as mentioned in Galatians 6, chapter 6, verse 7, and also in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 31. Emphasizes and amplifies that a good experience can only be brought about by goodwill. Conversely, an evil thought, word, or action can also only bring an undesirable experience. We are further encouraged to focus on goodwill, such that one's fate can be of a benevolent kind. And I just wanted to read the references the person made in the Bible, which is Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. It says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Actually, Gregory, I just wanted to ask you if you'd like to say something from what I've just read out there.
Very simply, DJ, whatever his name was again, in Galatians, like was put there, it was said, those who sow in flesh, the consequences are there. Those who sow in spirit, the consequences are there. Therefore, it is the spirit that is paramount, not the flesh. So thanks for that reading, which supports everything that has been stressed from the beginning.
Thank you for that. And the second quote, this is not, this, by the way, I'm reading is not from DJ Scribe. It's another listener. Sorry, in case I made a confusion. I'm sorry. So this other quote is referred to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 31. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their way and have their fill of their own devices. Therefore they must eat the bitter fruit of living their own way, choking on their own schemes. So again, Gregory, anything you'd like to say to that?
All that has been stressed there, typically, is only that which resonates with reciprocal activities, which, when looked at again, swings in the law of the attraction of homogeneity. Again and again, on many occasions, one has stressed, or the discussions have stressed, these laws of nature or the laws of creation. So all these examples being given are only explanations, be it from the Proverbs or from whatever source, as long as that which has been given is consistent with the laws of nature, of creation, then it is right.
Thank you so much for that, Gregory. And what is my perception of these words from the Bible there? It seems to live in the flesh, it seems to be leading to destruction. And let's say my own sense thinking about it is saying, well, first of all, is it wrong to, I don't believe it is evil to be living on this earth. That is not by definition evil. You just, how you live is what is more, the way you can think about it. If you do evil, then yes, there will be destruction. And if you do good, there will be harvest, or good harvest, let's call it, a fruitful harvest. So just because, and when I was reading this quotes from the Bible here, I somehow got an impression, everything earthly or flesh somehow leads to destruction. That which, let's say, my own inner sensing doesn't seem to come to that conclusion.
But again, sorry, what is referred to as the flesh is that which is temporal.
Right.
That which is temporal is definitely will turn to dust. That
Right.
which is spirit is the one which is permanent, whereas that which is of flesh is only for a very short period of time, so it's temporal.
Right.
So it doesn't hold.
So actually, that's not to do with good or evil as such. That is just the way
That
of
is
these.
how it is. Yes, of
Right.
course.
Yes. So yes, it's just because clarity is necessary in all these matters. If you just boil everything down to good and evil, you can easily get a wrong idea. So thank you for that clarification there. Now, um, let me think. It's again similar to the question of DJ Scribe, Gregory. Are we born with or without sin? And before I go there, let me say what is sin. So let me just look at this again, Gregory, in the dictionary. Sin. It says an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. So with that, shall we look at that? First of all, that definition. Can I use that for my question about are we born with sin or not?
Well, you didn't ask them what the divine law was or is, which had been transgressed. Unless there's clarity about that, then you find there was likely to be gray areas where many get mixed up. So you yourself refer to sin. Any activity in which the human personality has to redeem itself, that activity is a sin. For if man or woman, put it that way, carries out its activity in such a way that there is no need to do any redemption, that means there was no sin. So wherever you have redemption, there something must have been done which is not in accordance with the will and the love of the Almighty.
Thanks for that answer there, Gregory. So just to go back so there were two questions in one really. So to complete that question, so we know what is sin now, or how we should look at sin. So the question is, are we born with or without sin?
The human personality is born. That means it came into existence, not the earthly birth, in which is temporal. The human personality came into existence without sin. For it hasn't done anything wrong. However, it, the human spirit, as an unconscious spark, is granted the possibility to develop itself. It is in the process of developing itself that many a time it may take the wrong turn and do that which it has to redeem before it can move forward. So at the beginning, it came in without sin, and it could not have sinned because it was unconscious. But subsequently, in its maturity, it does a wrong thing here and a wrong thing there, and it needed to redeem. So that is how sin came about, and it had to redeem itself so that it can move forward. But it is not tied to one earthly, temporal existence in which, as a grace, it is permitted again and again to incarnates in order to undo, to make remittance, to do that which is right in accordance with his creative laws, such that it can now make progress in its maturity towards consciousness and self-consciousness.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this answer. Going back earlier about the Lucifer there, because devil, he can lead us astray and through his temptation. And so I'm wondering, Gregory, if we do evil due to the influence of Lucifer or the devil, because of his temptation, he's tempting us, how much responsibility do we bear in the consequences of, if we are led astray through Lucifer? Is it partial responsibility of Lucifer, so he has to be punished, and then we bear the maybe a lesser responsibility than Lucifer, because he is the one who tempted us to do it? Evil. I'm talking about evil.
The answer to this question is self-explanatory. The human spirit is granted the free will to make decisions. There are stones out there. Do stones have free will? There are plants out there. Do plants have free will? There are bugs out there. Do bugs have free will? Do you ask plants to account for that which they have done? Do you ask the birds to come and give an account of that which they have done? Basically, he or she who has been granted the free will to make decisions in deeds, to make decisions in thoughts, to make decisions in its intuition, for it is the spirit that makes that decision. Then, in that case, each one must give an account of that which has been granted to it, that power which has been granted to it to develop itself. That is it. So, of course, the influence of Lucifer is there. But what is the free will for? When they ask Adam, you were told not to eat this apple. And what did he say? Lord, it is the woman you gave to me. He didn't say that it was he himself who made that decision. So in these matters, each person must look deep within themselves to make their decisions. They cannot now refer to Lucifer that he tempted us, and that is why we fell. Lucifer does not tempt you to go hungry. You know when you are hungry, you need food. Lucifer does not ask you not to drink, because you know if you don't take water, subsequently you will die. However, when it comes to that where greed is, where envy is, and gluttony and lust, many a time we now refer to Lucifer. The fault does not lie elsewhere. The fault lies with the human personality who made that decision, as long as it's able to hold itself together and strive after that which is noble, then the reciprocal activities will smooth the path through which it must follow.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer there. Actually, with this topic tonight, we can go on and on with many questions, but we're coming to the end of the show. Just reflecting one more thing. I don't know if we can do it quickly. There is this judgment day or final judgment that is expected. And, you've talked earlier about whatever evil we have done, we have to redeem. That's the sin that we have done. So judgment day, it's the last chance. That's how we are told to, you could say, redeem ourselves, or we fall into hell, as let's say has been assigned. So my question is, Gregory, how much time can we be? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to put that. So, yeah, are we allowed to, Gregory? We're not allowed, but how quickly can we sort of? Can everybody? Let me say it that way. Can everybody still get past this final judgment, or some of us have maybe committed so much evil that we cannot be redeemed?
It all depends on the individual, on that which the individual has tied up within itself through to its past activities and its inclination to redeem itself. It all depends on the individual. However, one should know that a period is granted for the human personality to have come into the world of matter in order to mature. And when that period expires or about to expire, all that it has done is returned to it so that it may experience and come to the awareness whether it has done that which will enable it resonate with the peace, with the love, and with the will that granted these opportunities. If its activities resonate with it, that means it is redeemed. Otherwise, if the deeds of the intuition of thoughts and the physical deeds do not resonate with the love that granted it and the will that also granted these possibilities, then the development has been in vain. Such will have to go back to their origin as unconscious spirit gems.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer. Dear listeners, we've come to the end of our show tonight about good and evil. Hope you have enjoyed the discussion and contribution also made by DJ Scribe. So we thank everybody who was with us tonight. I just want to end with just a short quote from the GRAIL message, which is you can say on the first page actually of the GRAIL message. Free yourself from all darkness. He who makes no effort to grasp the word of the Lord aright burdens himself with guilt. that is from the, you could say, the beginning of the Grail message, In the Light of Truth by Abdushin. And if you're interested to know more about it or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. Gregory, is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing everyone a beautiful week.
Thank you for that. And yes, listeners, thank you for joining us, and have a great week. We'll be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, with another topic. Take care now.